Hi, I'm Kim Wilson,
And I'm Natasha Marchewka.
and this is Speechless.
Speechless. Speechless.
Welcome to our behind-the-scenes take on real life in VO, where we share our stories and our resources and our unsolicited opinions. Take it away.
Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
We have the incredible Adam Lofbomm on our show today to talk about e-learning, but it's not your run-of-the-mill talk about e-learning. And what do I mean by that? A lot of times when we go to conferences or we do work webinars, people teach us about how to market an e-learning for e-learning or about the genre. And I feel like Adam, I know Adam is going to give us some really good gold nuggets about how to market, what the realities are of working in e-learning, what you need to look out for, what you need to be good at,
What the trends are.
and what the trends are, aka AI, which is a concern.
Especially in this genre.
In this genre, absolutely. So you'll want to listen to that for sure. I do want to share a little bit about with you about what he's done. So Adam has been working in voiceover for 15 years. He'll share with us what he started in Korea, and he has worked with companies like Apple, Honda, IBM, Verizon, Hyundai, Chase, IKEA, Toyota, Samsung, Comcast, Adobe, and Coca-Cola. They've all entrusted him to tell their story or educate their learners. He's the real deal in terms of not only telling you about the genre of e-learning and how to work in it, but also the reality of AI and how that's going to likely impact us all. So
Buckle up, because here we come.
buckle up. Oh, we're so excited to welcome Adam Lofbomm here to our show. I know you're a fan,
Welcome.
Adam. Thank you
I
for
am.
being
I am.
here.
I love it. Thanks for
Adam's
having me.
in Italy, in Torino right now, and
Living his dream life.
and living
Living
the
all
dream.
of our dream lives.
Living all of our dream. And we'll dive into that. But we are so happy to have you, not only because you are a prolific e-learning guy, but you're also super handsome, super talented, very
Face for
worldly and
radio.
cultured. You're like a Renaissance man, really.
I like
You are.
stuff. Yeah.
You like stuff a
I
lot.
like stuff and things also.
Yeah. What did you bring to cheers with us to drink today, Adam?
So I have the vermutino.
Wow.
So
Oh my God, that's so
vermouth was
sexy.
invented in Torino in 1769 by a company named Carpano, and they still are in business. And you can buy it in Publix. I saw when I was in Florida. But this is a vermutino is 2 parts white vermouth and 1 part soda water, and then a little lemon zest.
So why is it like a gold color?
So it's a Bianco. So it's made from
Look at that.
white grapes.
White vermouth is.
Yeah, but then it's vermouth is it's like a fortified wine. And so there's herbs, and every company has their own special.
My
recipe for
grandparents
vermouth.
loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Okay.
So yeah, chin chin.
Cheers.
Cheers. What have you got, Kim?
Oh, I made myself a passion fruit gin fizz, and look at it. I used the gin. I used my party trick gin today, which is
Malfi?
no, hold please, Empress.
Empress gin. Okay.
Yeah, it's purple.
And I have a fancy Trader Joe's sparkling pink lemonade.
Cheers.
It says French Market.
Wordly in your own way. Cheers.
It's actually really good.
Cheers.
All right, cool. Adam,
let's get into it.
We are going to ask you some questions about e-learning, and I think this is especially interesting because we've thought of some really good questions. But our first basic question for you, Adam, is how did you get started in e-learning, in the e-learning industry? And I know it's an interesting answer. So
it is.
Yeah.
And then what continues to draw you into specializing in voiceover work for that, in this field, in this genre?
Good question. So yes, I will try to compact my weird biography into a short, bite-sized answer. But people ask me often how to get into voiceover, and I say, move to Korea in 2006 with the intention to teach ESL, and then go there without a college degree, so you can't find a job, and then fall into voiceover. That's my recipe for voiceover
Yeah.
success.
Okay.
Great.
So,
Very cool.
so that's how I got into this. I went over there to find myself and have an adventure for 1 year in my mid-20s, and landed in this amazing career. I was there for 10 years in Seoul and did just about everything imaginable after ESL. That was my bread and butter there, was voicing educational content for kids. But I did animation and video games and talking toys and radio and TV shows and all kinds of stuff. So there was just
Fun.
about 50 of us working full time, and we literally got to do anything and everything. And it
Wow.
was the coolest paid training for a decade there.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't pay a lot, but it paid really regularly. And I had agents that booked me every day, day after day, for 20 to 30 hours on mic a week, oftentimes.
You
And
woke up
so
every day and was like,
every
I know what
day,
I'm doing.
never auditioned, never,
Wow.
never made a demo. Just
My gosh, what a
To put this
fun.
into context, though,
Yeah.
you went into the studio every day, right? You
I
didn't have one
did.
at
I
home.
went,
Yeah.
which was amazing, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I hopped on my scooter and I rode from studio to studio and all around Seoul, which is a city of 26 million people. It's this gigantic Asian
Wow.
megalopolis,
Oh
and
my God.
I
Megalopolis,
loved it. I just
megalopolis,
absolutely loved
megalopolis.
my life. Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
going to write that word down.
But if you were going from
Megalopolis,
studio to studio,
yeah.
who was coordinating that? An agent, a manager, or you?
I had two agents there. There was a
Oh,
big
okay.
agency that the main one was called Elgate, and they booked, probably 80% of my work. And I had another one that kind of filled the rest of my schedule. And
Okay, so
that
wait a
was,
minute, back up. It doesn't just go from working full time and having an agent. So you were ESL teaching, what was that step to working voice actor from no
I mean,
certification in
it
anything?
happened very quickly. But I went there with my ex. She had a job teaching English, and I didn't. I just went to find something on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gave me the support that I needed to get my career off the ground, because I was working just to hear, a bit here and there, but it took about probably 6 months, and I was full time doing
And
that.
how
I just
did you
kinda
know?
How
made
did
the
you
right
find?
connections.
How did you find a
So
voiceover job?
so her
Let's drill it down.
her boss's wife worked for an educational publisher, and we all met for dinner one night.
Networking.
And networking. And she got this funny look on her face halfway through dinner and said, "You ever think about recording your voice?" And I said, "Yeah, I have." And I had thought about it, but I looked into it in 2005 when I was looking into it. It was really hard to break in Nashville, Tennessee. There was nothing, much local. And
Okay. So you had
so yeah,
tried.
so it was in my mind. There was a little seed, and but she offered me this opportunity, and I took it. And I went to the studio. The studio hired me back, and I met the other talents agents, and bada boom, bada bing.
You are a rock star in like
Wow,
a
that's a
minute.
great,
All right.
great
All right. We'll buy
story.
that. We'll buy that.
So that's the background. But you asked about e-learning. When my chapter came to a close there in 2015, after 9.5 years there, I realized it was time to come back. I was heading towards 40. I didn't want to be one of those old guys who was still slumming around in the English ghetto there, because there were some people that stayed a little too long,
Oh,
the ESL teachers come, they're 25, 26, and there's always this new batch of new people, and I just kept getting older.
Oh.
Anyway,
oh,
so I realized at
It's a
36,
Yes,
thing.
it's a
Okay.
thing.
my time was over,
Okay.
and I didn't want to be that guy.
What, getting older or? Okay. All right.
I didn't want to be the old guy at the bar. But anyway, so I headed back to Chicago in 2015, sorry, and landed there. And just thought, I kind of came full of myself. I thought, I'll get an agent here, and I'll just be, kicking Chicago's ass this time. And lo and behold, it kicked mine in return. And I really had to figure out what my lane was. I had to find out, kind of, restructure and reimagine my career.
Yeah.
And so during this time, I went back to visit Nashville, and I visited the Tennessee Voiceover Exchange, which my dear friend Christy Bowen runs. And I remember sitting in a talk that she was giving about VO rate setting. And this is when the lights went off for me for e-learning. Was I saw up on the board, all these different rate structures and things you could expect to charge. And I saw $25 per minute next to e-learning. And for me, I just immediately, I had this intuition. I was like, that's for me, because I am totally geeky. I love to learn. I also recognized immediately that this is not the sexiest genre. I knew if I was going to compete in animation and video games and these, commercial and all this stuff, it was going to be a real hard slog to break
You
in.
needed to be more sexy. You need to be
I
sexier.
needed to be sexier. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but and I
Let me die a little.
I needed more
said that
sexy,
out-
but
Said that out loud.
but I also didn't audition. I was
Right.
raised as a VO baby, not auditioning, and I was like, I can just get regular clients that hire me again and again, and
Right.
and I won't have to
Right.
fight day after day to get these one job that I may never get hired for again. And so anyway, I was just instantly magnetized to e-learning, and I decided that was going to be my beachhead in America was e-learning. And so I just went all out for that, and I focused entirely on that. I mean, I made a commercial demo because I was told that's what you got to do here, so I did that. But I made an e-learning demo and a narration demo second, and I focused entirely on that. And I started cold calling, all these e-learning developers and making connections, and I built a pretty, good solid business over the course
Fantastic.
of probably 2 years. Yeah. So yeah, 2015 to 2017 was kind of what it took me to find my feet and sort of, relaunch my career. But yeah, that's how I got into e-learning.
And I think that's a
That was
great
the answer to the question.
It
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
was, and a great reason for anyone to consider it. You
Yeah.
just listed a whole bunch of really great reasons.
What do
Not
you-
auditioning is like, wow, interesting. Right.
Right.
Yep.
So now that you're a pro in the e-learning field, what would you tell a newbie or somebody who is looking to get into voiceover? What do you think the most important qualities they should have?
Hey, by the way, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. You'll get all the show takeaways plus resources and drink recipes too. Go to speechlessvo.com.
And a huge thanks to our season sponsors, CenterCam and StudioBricks, both of which we love and we use.
Guess what? Casting director Tina Marasco has given us an exclusive promo code for a discount on her amazing voiceover course called The Library. Over 2 hours of Tina's coaching, targeted videos of Tina's foundational method have done the whole thing. It's amazing. Relevant and actionable tips when self-directing, and lifetime access and alerts to video updates. You get the promo code if you sign up or are signed up already for our newsletter.
Listen, we're also giving away one of our favorite pieces of equipment called the CenterCam, and we use it every day. Wonder why I'm looking you right in the eyes. Yes, see, with CenterCam, you can do this. Okay, we're giving one away. Sign up for our newsletter, or you already signed up for our newsletter, and you'll be in the drawing this December.
We're giving away all kinds of prizes. And one more thing we want to share right now is the vocal straw.
Yeah.
Check it out at vocalstraw.com.
It's
Don't
cool.
forget, you can only get it if you're included in our prize drawings in December. So sign up for the newsletter.
So now that you're a pro in the e-learning field, what would you tell a newbie or somebody who is looking to get into voiceover? What do you think the most important qualities they should have?
That's a good
Or they
question.
should
I
strive
think I named one of them already. I said I love to learn.
Mhm.
I've been an avid reader my entire life, and I am a generalist. I read broadly. I haven't ever gone really, really deep into many subjects except maybe like religion and philosophy. Those were, kind of big for me in my youth. And so I know a little bit about a lot of things, and that I think is a really great quality to have as an e-learning narrator. Because I mean, I was, kind of reviewing what a typical week of work looks like for me. And for example, 2 weeks ago, I was recording a module of training for Alaska teachers, teaching them how to be more trauma informed with their students. So this very, emotional intelligence type training. Later in the week, I was teaching USAID workers how to protect their data when they're in these, foreign countries that are really, dangerous, where they could be compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the week, I was narrating a certification course for Meta for AR software developers that they're doing with Coursera right now. And so, I mean, these are three vastly different worlds.
Uh-huh.
Two are tech related, but
Right.
but all of them require a kind of ability to familiarize yourself with these worlds and sound like you know what you're doing, and where these people are coming from, to envision their life,
I
and to
have
be able to step into those worlds pretty quickly. So
I
I think
want to
it's really,
interrupt and just say, like,
yeah.
when I do work, I do a lot of medical narration, and when I
Hmm.
do research on my end and I watch little YouTube on what the hell am I talking about, because half the time I don't understand it. And then I start to get interested. And then when I go into the studio, I notice my interest in the subject now changes my read.
Yes,
So wanting to
1000%.
learn and be open to learning a bunch of stuff all the
Mm.
time and just wanting to read about that stuff,
Totally can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think it changes your read. It
I
makes
think
it
it does.
enticing
Yeah.
to listen to.
No
Mhm.
doubt, no doubt. I mean, we have to connect with every script, whether it's commercial
Hmm.
copy or, compliance training for
Right.
Medicaid marketing provisions, like
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
you've got to care at least a little bit, and you've got to care for the people that are receiving it too. And that's, even if you can't
Right.
connect with the copy, which sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's super technical. My window in is always wanting to connect with the learners and
Mm, good tip.
having
That's
compassion for
gold.
them.
Mm.
So this started in Korea, actually. This is in my DNA, because I used to think about the children that were listening to my voices,
Of course
because
you did.
Korean children are so oppressed. They go to these
Oh,
hagwons from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. sometimes, and they're,
what?
studying English after hours and math and all this stuff,
What?
because it's so competitive. It's so cutthroat. The society is hyper competitive. And
Wow.
so I felt deep compassion for these poor children who were listening to my voice. And I used to just try to, like, inject a little love
Wow.
into
Yeah.
their moment. Right. And
Wow.
Obstacles and challenges
yeah.
in e-learning. What would
Mhm.
that look like?
The biggest challenge I think I've faced is complacency.
Mhm.
I ramped up all, my business development and my marketing back in 2015 to 2017, 2018. And about 2019, I felt like I was cruising, and I cruised.
Okay.
And my business started doing this,
Okay.
because although this is a repeat business and an evergreen business where you do have clients come back to you again, some of them after 8 years. I've got some of the same clients that I
Mm-hmm.
first marketed to that come back. You
Mm-hmm.
will have attrition every year. Things change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Companies don't select you to be their voice of choice anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I've had big accounts that were just kept me, you know, busy day after day, month after month, and then
Mm-hmm.
they're done. They've gotten all their training stuff packaged up, and they're done for another 5 years, and they're going to
Right.
disappear. So
Great
so
point.
complacency and just thinking you've got it made and you've got, your client base all set up, I think is the biggest enemy of any of our businesses. But that was one that really kicked my butt in 2020 and 2021. And that sort of segues into my other challenge, which is being rigid in the way that I was marketing.
Hmm.
I got really reliant on in-person
Explain.
marketing. Yeah.
You got
So
reliant on what?
on in-person marketing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I did a lot when I lived in Chicago. I used to go out to all of these ATD events. ATD is the Association for Talent Development,
Mhm.
and that's the industry association where e-learning professionals, instructional designers, and
Mm-hmm.
developers come together to talk shop. So I
Mm-hmm.
would show up at their chapter meetings. I joined the chapter, and I would, sit in on workshops that they were, learning about the latest trends in the industry, and where they were networking and meeting others. And I went into those things. It was a great place for me to learn more about my client's world, and just help me speak their language better. But it was a way to get in front of them and prove that social proof
Mm.
that I was
Mm-hmm.
someone who understood their world enough to be there, and could be a good vendor for them and a good partner for their production. So anyway, I did a lot of that locally in Chicago. I went to the international conferences in Denver and Orlando.
Mm.
Um, and other associations, the AMA, the American Marketing Association. A lot of this, I love talking to people, as you might be able to tell. I love chit-chatting and connecting, and so this was a big part of my business for those first 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020 hits, and the whole world shuts down, and there's nothing in person. And not only that, the cold calling I used to do at the office doesn't work very well either, because no one's at the office, and
Yes.
it's just
You have to
I
call
got
people's houses.
you have to call
This
people's
is
houses.
weird. Yeah.
And phone calling, the phone calling etiquette changed from 2013 when I started cold calling to even 2017. I stopped answering my phone because it was all spam, right? So anyway, getting rigid in your methodology is another big challenge that I faced. And so I've been trying to find other ways to do that. I moved to Europe, and in person is also not an option for me most of the time because I don't speak Italian very well.
Okay.
Anyway,
Okay.
so I would say keep flexible, keep agile, pay attention to changes in the world, because the world is changing faster than ever, and it's going to keep on doing it. So,
Are you comfortable sharing some marketing tips that have worked for you?
I think
Recent.
recently, Tracy Lindley is a dear friend of mine, and so she schooled me in LinkedIn, and I did a moderate job of following her advice for a number of years, but I've really stepped up my game in the last 2 or 3, for sure. That is still a good and viable place. It is harder to market there than when she was doing it and when I was first starting it. I will tell you that, because I do think there's more of us there. I think everyone's just saturated with outbound marketing in general. That's the feeling I get. I think it is, it's not just a LinkedIn problem. It's an email problem. It's a social media problem. There's so much info and data pouring on us from every corner.
Yeah.
I put out a newsletter that I still get a pretty good read rate,
Gorgeous
but I know
newsletter, like an exceptional newsletter. Just saying.
Thanks. But
Sign me up.
Yeah. But yeah, like I know I used to read thoroughly the newsletters that I got, and more of them. And I know I don't read the content. I'm a producer. Like, I should have more empathy than I do, but I we're all feeling overwhelmed.
No, they have to have value to you. Yeah. Hey, that was very thorough. Thank you.
One final question is, what trends do you see emerging in the e-learning genre? And how can we all stay up to date?
Well, one of the buzzwords that I used to hear at those industry conferences when I was attending in person was microlearning. That's certainly still a thing. I'm seeing modules that are quite short. They used to be these sort of mega courses that were an hour and a half long back in the day. They've gone down to 20 minutes and 10 minutes and 5 minutes. And sometimes some of the stuff that I'm doing for Meta that I was talking about for their AR certification course, some of those things are just like a minute and a half long. It's a little concept in this sweet little package with a bow on it, and it's out.
I mean, that's all really we've been trained.
Span.
I was going to say our attention span.
Yeah.
We've all been trained with social media to
it's
only
the
like take in.
YouTubeification of training. And the fact of the matter is, like, it works. I go to YouTube when I want to learn something, and the producers there know what works and what gets engagement and what keeps people coming back because it provides value. So we've learned from that. So that's definitely still a thing. Also, that sort of tied into that is a very casual delivery, because we're used to YouTubers don't talk down to us. They talk to us peer to peer. And I think more than any other coaching tip I've ever heard for e-learning is, if you can imagine yourself sitting down next to a peer or someone slightly junior to you, that you're in the same department, but maybe just a little bit more than them, and you're talking to them in this tone and with that intent and with that goal in mind and motivation, I think it will shape your delivery so well. More than any other little trips, sort of tricks of whatever. But I think just picturing yourself in that scenario and like, hey, buddy, we got to get a job done. Let's talk through what the next steps are towards getting you there to competency, because we got to work together, and I want you to understand this stuff.
Right.
That's the spirit that I think almost 90%, probably 90% of e-learning scripts want you to deliver it in. So, so yeah, casual, friendly delivery. And the other one that that comes to mind is AI. AI is coming
Dun,
into
dun,
this industry,
dun.
and that was that's yeah, that came to mind when we were talking about LinkedIn marketing. And this is a thing that I have seen as I've been reaching out, and I reach out to people on LinkedIn in the tens of thousands.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In the I have a list of 23,000 instructional designers that are in my database, and have received a message from me on LinkedIn over the past 3 years. But anyway, a lot of the feedback I get from people when I reach out to them and say, hey, would a pro voiceover like me be helpful to you on your projects? I get more and more people that are saying, well, we're using Hello Labs, and we're, hey, we're using Respeecher or whatever. So I'm seeing this happen. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put that out there.
That's
Yeah.
good to know.
That's this
That's
moment. What
Mhm.
if I were a betting man, I would have to bet that we're gonna see some correction around this,
Yeah.
because I do know that I've had some insight into other AI, startups that are working in this space in, nonfiction audiobooks, for example. And they, have built products that the market isn't really buying. And the market is pushing back, and they're saying, we don't like this. It's not ready for showtime yet. So I think we're going to see some, like, some of these companies are going to deliver their training. They're going to get pushback from the end users, and they're going to say, or they're going to see their engagement numbers dropping, whatever, all those metrics they use
Mhm.
to, evaluate their product. And I think they're going to, they're going to come back to us for a while.
Mhm.
so you're
However,
saying we have a
I'm
chance.
saying we have a chance, but I do long game. I do think that probably in around the 3 to 5 years from now, we're going to see a really mature AI voice.
Mhm.
I
And
agree.
I mean, the things that I'm seeing it doing visually, I'm a visual artist as well, and so I play with it in that domain, and it's making photographic images that blow my damn mind, and I don't, yeah. So I think there will be a time when it just won't be feasible to hire us, because these offerings
Right.
are going to be so good and so cheap. So as far as my e-learning and my nonfiction audiobook business goes, like,
Career.
I am thinking reinvention, long game.
Yeah, long game.
I am, but I'm not giving up right now, and I still love the work that I do. But for someone coming into it now, I'm going to be real with you. Like,
I love
I
that.
do think that probably 40 to 50% of this type of work will be done by AI, in the next 3 to 5 years. That's my guess. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm
Unless the
wrong.
cells, I mean, on a
Yeah,
cellular level, unless our
yeah, yeah.
cells in 3 to 5 years can pick up the
Yeah.
human voice versus an
Right.
AI, I don't
Right.
know if
Right.
on a
Right.
cellular level, if we can, if we evolve
I
and
mean, I think
are
about the
engaged.
candle and the light bulb. Like, candles are still wonderful, and we still have candles, but my
It's
God, like, it's not
true.
the
Right.
standard.
It's like,
It's
right?
true.
When we want to light a supermarket, we don't do it with candles.
Right. So,
Okay,
you know,
so one final question then.
Yeah.
Since
sure.
you have put a lot of thought into the AI piece in
Yeah.
e-learning,
Yeah.
what other genres do you think it will gobble up? And what genres, just in brief, do you think will still maintain the human voice?
Mm.
You know, I would say tutorial videos on YouTube is probably another place. Like, I mean, that's also a form of e-learning, but away from the sort of corporate space. I mean, I think for a while, most of the other genres are pretty safe. I think just the place where I built my business is
Mm.
the most sort of in jeopardy.
Sure.
Well, telephone, I think IVR telephone.
Telephony. Sorry, yes, telephony is
Mhm.
another
I was going to
sandbox I
say,
play in, and it's
not just
properties.
you, Adam, but
Yeah,
Natasha and I both have a healthy chunk of
right.
our work
Yeah,
in that genre as well.
yeah,
So
sure,
it's
sure.
really
Well,
it's
yeah, there is so much. There's so much corporate work, but there's
Right.
so much opportunity for
Yeah,
a robot to take over
yeah,
there
and be
is,
awesome.
there
paid
is,
much less than us.
and and I've thought a lot about this space, because I've been part of this study group with the Linux Foundation called the Open Voice Network, and I was along with Jody Krangle and a couple of others who've gotten involved in this over the last couple of years, we've spoken with industry professionals and people that are in the development space, and we were trying really hard to develop contracts for, that accounted for AI and allowed us to keep our intellectual property of our voice and, receive royalties for the things that these things were doing in the marketplace. And for a minute, I was really hopeful because I talked to some amazing ethical people in these smaller little companies like Vocal ID, Rupal Patel and, James, who's at Beyond Words, and they're good, real people. But my fear is that these guys, who are ethical and principled, are setting the groundwork for the big guys who will not play by the same rules.
Right.
And that's, that's the thing. This could be amazing for us. This could be, fantastically liberating for all of us talent and, and feed us and make us millionaires, or whatever. But I just, I'm a little discouraged right now with the trends I'm seeing from the mega players. And I just don't think ethics are going to win out in that space.
I don't think they are either.
Well, thank you for educating us.
Yeah. Adam, you have given everyone here pieces of gold to use for the next 3 to 5 years.
I hope it's valuable. Yes. Yeah. At the end of the day, follow your bliss and, there'll be something with AI, with, the changes in our industry and all of this. Like, I think of the words of Bob Dylan. He said, if you're not busy being born, you're busy dying. So you've got to keep changing. You got to keep evolving. You got to keep growing constantly, no matter what. And that's the name of the game. Right?
I love that.
Thank you for your wisdom, Adam.
Thank you. Cheers.
We'll have to check in with you once a year for this checkup. What do you think?
Yes. I think that sounds great.
Definitely.
How can people get a hold of you if they want to know more about what you're talking about or hire you?
Let's see. So they can find me at adamlofbomm.com. That's my homepage. My wife and I share a site called c3creative.com. Because she's an amazing talent in her own right, and so that's our little joint party. And then we were talking about my visual art earlier before, and if you want to see what I make in that space, you can go to lofbommvisuallabs.com or lvlabs.art if you don't like to type.
You know us well.
Thank you for being here, and cheers.
Thank you. Cheers,
everybody.
Thank you.
This episode of Speechless is brought to you by
CenterCam helps eye to eye feel more like heart to heart.
Are you ready for better conversations, better quality conversations during video calls?
Yes, because CenterCam's middle of the screen camera makes it easy to maintain eye contact, and it also feels more natural.
Helping humans connect from a distance.
The CenterCam.com. We both have one. Voice talent need quiet.
For us, quiet comes in the form of a StudioBricks booth.
I love my StudioBricks because it's whisper quiet in my incredibly noisy neighborhood.
And I love my booth because when clients see me on Zoom, they know I'm a pro.
Go to StudioBricks.com.
World-class sound isolation, light environmental footprint.
Speechless.